So what we'll do is we'll do the Shakyamuni Buddha practice together. It will help guide us, settle us down. And so if you are so inclined, it would be very good, especially since now we're going to turn the dining room into a holy space. We've gotten very good at that let's do 3 prostrations together if you're so inclined. So you can do half bows, just standing if you wish. Visualizing the Buddha in the space in front, and we have this beautiful representation of the 3 jewels right here. And ourselves surrounded by living beings as far as we can imagine. You can especially imagine all the people on the East Coast, maybe Washington, D.C. itself, right here in this space, facing the Buddha and bowing to the qualities that the Buddha embodies. Om Namo Manjushriye Namo Sushriye Namo Namashriye Soha. Om Namo Manjushriye Namo Sushriye Namo Tamashriye Soha. Om Namo Manjushriye Namo Sushriye Namo Tamashriye Soha. So our practice is in the blue prayer book on page, the recitations start on page, I have the long version, sorry, 28, I think. Many of you know this practice. So we'll start with just a few moments of settling ourselves quietly, or maybe quieting ourselves internally. Your feet flat on the floor is ideal. Your spine straight in the chair is ideal. And just take a moment to connect with your body and the connection with the chair and the floor, and bring your energy into that first. And then move your attention to your breathing for a moment. Slowly pulling in all the senses, the energy that's been out and greeting each other, pulling that inside ourselves by bringing our attention to the breath. And think for a moment about what brought you up through the snow, through the slush, up to this hill this morning. Now, what was your personal motivation to take this invitation to come for the Katina celebration? Because it's not easy to get here. You made some effort. Why? And we can marvel for a moment that here is a group of Americans, mostly, others from other places, in 2025, gathered together to celebrate in a ceremony that is as old as Buddhism itself. 2,000, almost 600 years old. Not because it's a party, not because we're having a potluck, but gathered together because the Buddha Dharma continues to exist in our world. We've heard the teachings, they speak to our heart. Teachers have passed this down to students for over 2,000 years, for millennia. And through our own karma, seeds ripened in our own mind, we have found our time, our way together, to come together, to rejoice and celebrate those Buddha's teachings, to celebrate that the Sangha flourishes to this day, to celebrate that the lay community and the Sangha community support each other in our practice, and to take deep, deep refuge in our understanding of the Buddhist view, the reliance on the Four Truths, our understanding of the nature of reality itself, and the bodhicitta qualities leading to bodhicitta of love, compassion, generosity, fortitude, joyous effort, concentration, and wisdom still exist and in our own hearts. And that by nourishing these ourselves, our capacity for bringing benefit to others grows. By nourishing these in ourselves, our capacity to become Buddha ourselves is pursued. That is astonishing. That such an opportunity exists on a hill in Podunk, Washington in 2025. So think about your own bodhicitta motivation and really spread it as far as you can. Your own wish to be of benefit, your own wish to follow the practice, your own aspiration, wherever that lies on the continuum of your practice, to become Buddha yourself, to hold that possibility. And so we think of these qualities of love, compassion, wisdom, skillful means, and imagine with that motivation, what would it feel like to be these qualities? Can you imagine how expansive, how endless that love would be? How vast that wisdom mind might be? And then we bring to mind the image of the Buddha in the space in front of us who embodies all of these. Just take a moment to rest in that image and your own relationship with the Buddha. And then to the extent that you're comfortable, we'll do these recitations together. If it's, I don't know if we have new people here, but if you do, and it's you just want to listen in, that's also fine. But we'll start by taking refuge together. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate all the virtues of myself and others to the great awakening. This ground anointed with perfume, flowers strewn Mount Meru, for land, sun, and moon. Imagined as a Buddha land and offer to you, may all beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, and strangers, my body, wealth, and enjoyments, I offer these without any sense of loss. Please accept them with pleasure and inspire me and others to be free from the three poisonous attitudes. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Niryatayami. Glorious and precious root Guru, sit upon the lotus and the new seed on my crown, guiding me with your great kindness. Bestow upon me the attainments of your body, speech, and mind, the eyes through whom the vast scriptures are seen, supreme doors for the fortunate who would cross over to spiritual freedom, illuminators whose wise means vibrate with compassion. To the entire line of spiritual mentors, I make the request. So if you haven't brought the Buddha to the crown of your head, I didn't tell you to, bring the Buddha to the crown of your head now, and as we'll recite the Buddha's mantra just 7 times, but imagine the tremendous light and nectar pouring from the Buddha down through you, flushing through your entire nervous system, purifying negativities and bringing realizations of the path. Ayata Om Mune Mune Maha Mune Soha. 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 The Buddha dissolves into you and into your heart. And rejoicing in the merit of just doing this short practice together. We'll dedicate especially for all the Abbey friends who may be watching or who are certainly connected in this very beautiful and rich mutual interrelationship between Sangha and our lay friends. And also for the welfare of our country, the welfare for all beings on this planet, and the welfare for all sentient beings. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their sufferings. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Venerable Damcho.
So hello again. Welcome to everybody who is online, and we've already welcomed all our friends on site. We are just delighted to be back in connection with everyone for our Katina and end of retreat celebration. So this word Katina may not be familiar to people, and actually it doesn't have a very specific definition. It's a Sanskrit word that can mean, I think, like a frame on which a robe is spread. Yeah. So later on, you'll see there's a ceremonial robe that's going to be offered that represents kind of all the offerings that the lay friends are making at the end of this retreat. So anyway, to just back up, why are we doing all this? This is a ceremony, as you've heard already, dates back to the Buddha's time. And in the Buddha's time, monastics did not live in a fixed place. Most of the time, the monks were wandering. Later on, there were nuns. And I think the nuns were more what is the word for it? Cenobitic, anyway, like stay in one place, and instead of wandering. Yeah. So, but during the monsoon months, when the rain was extremely heavy in India, it came to be that it was much safer for the monastics to stay in one place so that they wouldn't be trampling through the fields, harming life. And in many cases, they got their robes and bowls and things swept away by the floods and the rainwaters. Yeah, so that's how it began, that monastics began to stay in one place, and they would observe a strict retreat for 3 months. So now, 2,600 years later, here in America, we do our monastic retreat, not in the monsoon months, but in the snowy months. Yeah, when it's difficult for us to work outside, and it's hard for people to get up here as well. So that's what the community here has been doing. We've been in the monastic retreat called the Varsha, and at the end of that, we reopen our doors and welcome all our lay friends back. In the Buddha's time, it was a chance for the monastics to connect again with all the people who were supporting their retreat. And also because, I mean, the idea is that in retreat, we're working hard to transform our minds, and that makes us worthy objects of virtue. A bit stressful, I will say, as, and we're called a field of merit, in which, by planting your own virtuous seeds in this field of merit, we help to nourish each other and grow. Yeah, so I don't know, I hope I'm worthy of the toilet paper you bring here, and so forth, yeah. But so, I mean, that we have to kind of live up to the support that people give us, yeah. It really inspires us to practice, and hopefully it inspires you to come and, support and practice with us. Yeah, so but now that our doors are open again, one way we repay the kindness we have received is also to share whatever we have. And so, this also marks the opening of the year's schedule, and at the beginning again of all of us reaching out and sharing the Dharma actively all over the world. So the folks who are here right now are like a happy representation of all the friends worldwide who support this little monastic community. So one way we're going to celebrate this is with a procession that comes from Southeast Asia. This is done very much in the Thai and Sri Lankan Theravada traditions, where there would be a big elephant, and like the whole village comes out with musical instruments, and it's sunny. None of that is happening here. Those of you online don't know it is snowing really hard outside for March. So we can't even have an outdoor procession. And we don't have elephants here, but we'll have a moose. You can see here we have a representative moose till the day we tame our own moose. So this year, Nicole is our moose for the year. She's showing us. So she will be heading up the procession after Venerable Pelge, and then all our lay friends will follow subsequently with a representation of the offerings they have brought. Yeah, so all of you online can imagine that you're a part of this procession as well. And so while the procession is happening, the monastics will be here reciting the homage to our fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. And once everyone comes back in here, then the formal kind of ceremonial aspect of this Katina ceremony, that's kind of symbolizing the interdependence between the lay friends and the monastic community, will formally begin. So during the formal ceremony, you may be surprised to see that we have not one, but two abbesses. And that's partly because, we have our founding abbess, Venerable Chidren, but she did not sit the monastic retreat this year. She was teaching in Asia. Yeah, so because of that, then we have a ceremonial abbess to preside over the formal, only the people who did the actual retreat can formally participate in that. So Venerable Semke gets promoted for a day, and she's our ceremonial abbess. Yeah. So you'll see a little handoff in between. So you get two abbesses for the price of one, maybe, or something. Sorry. Yes, and so after the formal ceremonial aspect, we'll also spend some time thanking all of you who contribute so much to our existence, both here and online. So there will be a little thanking ceremony at the end. And then, of course, we'll then break to reformat this room and celebrate with a wonderful potluck lunch. Right, so that's the plan. And as we know, sometimes plans don't go according to plan, but we'll do our best. Yep. All right. So are we waiting for Venerable? Oh, she'll come after the procession. All right, sure. Okay, so now we'll begin our transition into the formal ceremony and the procession. Oh, okay, and if you could help to hand back the blue prayer books, because you won't be needing them. And so the monastics will get robed up, so to speak, and then you'll have more instruction subsequently.
So if everyone will stand. So we're going to make 3 bows to the Buddha, and please join us in whatever way you feel comfortable. Even just putting your palms together is a prostration, or you can bow at the waist. Those of you who have room, you can do a half prostration. Okay, so we'll face the Buddha. We'll make 3 bows to the Buddha with the bell. Face the central aisle. Monastics face the central aisle. So with a representation of your offering, we'll ask you to follow Venerable Pelge and Nicole with the moose down the front stairs, and we'll proceed with the procession inside this year.
Namo Ben Shu Shi Jia Mo Ni Po. 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 Namo Ben Shu Shi
Let us respectfully invite the abbess for the Varsa to enter.
When incense in the urn is from afar.
make 3 bows to the Buddha with the bell. Half bow. Everyone bow to the abbess 3 times. Bow to the Buddha once. Amitofo. Half bow. Everyone, please be seated. And let us respectfully invite the abbess, venerable children, to share the Dharma. Thank you. To the right.
Snow and hail and wind, and you're better than the mailman. So I thought just to talk a little bit about what the significance of this is, yeah? And in bringing Buddhism to the West, we have tradition, and then we have adaptation to our own culture. And I think tradition is the container within which adaptation occurs, yeah? And the tradition is the teachings. Yeah, we do not change anything about what the Buddha taught, because if we were to change what the Buddha taught, we're saying that we are more omniscient than the Buddha. If you want to do that, good luck. But as Buddhism goes from one country to the other, there's different climates, different social systems, different cultures. So things have to change, yeah? That's the superficial thing, what it looks like on the outside, some of the rituals and things like this, yeah? And so what we're doing at the Abbey is involved in this thing of maintaining the teachings, the tradition, and adapting things to the situation that we're in. So when we have a Varsa, the rains retreat, it started out in ancient India when people complained to the Buddha that his monastics during the monsoon rains were still walking around, trampling the rice fields, stepping on bugs, making a mess because it's so rainy and muddy then, while the other wanderers stayed in one place. So the Buddha said, okay, my disciples for the 3 months of the monsoon will stay in one place. They won't go out. Now, we don't have a monsoon rain here, yeah, but we have snow, yeah, which they didn't have in ancient India. So instead of the rains retreat, we do the snows retreat, and we schedule it in the winter instead of in the summer when you have the rains in India, okay? Then at the end of the Varsa, the retreat, we have another ceremony called the pravarana, which is feedback. And because part of the discipline during the varsa, the retreat part, is that we don't give advice to one another. Usually we do, and if things come up, somebody transgresses a precept, it gets pointed out. But in the varsa, there's none of that, because harmony is really the emphasis. Yeah, that everybody gets along really well. So you keep your mouth closed until the pravarana. And then, so it was, the pravarana was established so that people, if they saw transgressions in other people, that the other people hadn't confessed in the fortnightly confession and restoration of precepts, that would get pointed out. Okay, so we do the pravarana. Many of the root precepts, the very important precepts, really go across culture and time. Some of the other precepts, the lapses, are really specific for the culture in ancient India. For example, we have a precept not to ride in vehicles. Yeah, we all rode in vehicles to get here. We have a precept not to throw our chamber pot over the wall without looking about where it's going. Not many people in the Abbey do that. We keep that precept very, very well, because we have toilets, So there's things like that. So the aspect of tradition is we looked at what the precept, the defilement that the precept was aimed at counteracting, and we adapt that to something similar in our culture. Yeah, even though, and in that way we keep the meaning of the precept, even though the exact detail of the precept doesn't really pertain so much nowadays. Okay, so tradition, adaptation. Then at the pravarana, you're supposed to point out transgressions, but we use it as a thing of talking about anything that where you feel like, there's something going on between you and somebody else. Some uncomfortable feeling, somebody said something or did something. It isn't actually a precept, but it involves, the 10 non-virtues. So we talk about that instead, as well as any precepts, that people may have transgressed. Okay, so that's pravarana. Then, at the way Katina, what we're doing today, came into existence, is because the monks, were in the rains. They still had to walk around from their hut to the main place where they had meals and so on, and their robes were in tatters and just a mess. And they went to see the Buddha, and the Buddha looked at them and said, you guys, this kind of won't do. And since they didn't carry the robes at Macy's or Walmart or anything like that, the Buddha set up a ceremony whereby the lay people came and offered cloth, and then it was made up overnight and then shared. It was given to one particular monastic who was a representative of the whole community. Yeah. So in Thailand, when they did the Katina, also, the adaptation that happened there and here is that our robes really aren't in tatters at the end of the 3 months. We haven't been sledging through the monsoon mud, just the snow. And so, instead of people offering a lot of cloth, then it became a day in which offerings in general were made to either the monastery or the monastics individually. Okay, so in Thailand, when they started doing this, it was like a big special procession day. And one of my Thai nun friends was telling me that very often when they have the procession, like you people did, of people bringing offerings, there was an elephant at the head, okay? So we don't have a pet elephant here who would be suitable to walk at the head of the procession. And I think an elephant would really mess up our road, which was messed up enough by, all the vehicles constructing the Buddha Hall. So instead, the adaptation part was, what is our prominent big animal here at the Abbey? A moose. So somebody was carrying the picture of the moose at the head of your procession, okay? And so that's the adaptation part, but keeping the meaning of it as being a day, a particularly merit-making day to celebrate the end of the retreat and to celebrate and rejoice at all the merit you people are creating by supporting the Sangha. So that's what we're doing today. Okay, so tradition, adaptation, yeah. So welcome, and that's it.
Stan? Venerable, thank you. And Venerable Chitra will now have a seat with the assembly, and we'll do a chair change. And for the Katina ritual, we'll ask Venerable Simke to take her seat as our acting abbess. Please have a seat. So our donor will now rise and come to the bowing cushion.
I forgot to mention that before. So when we did our first Katina, or one of the previous Katinas, our friend in Ukraine, Julia, would have liked to be here, but she couldn't be. So somebody offered the robe in her place. So I wanted to request that when you're offering the robe, Tracy, think of Julia offering it and all the Ukrainians, and may this be something that brings peace for a long, long time to the Ukrainian people and the Russian people too.
Bow to the Buddha 3 times. Half bow. Bow to the abbess. I will bow to the abbess. I will bow to the abbess 3 times.
I will bow to the abbess 3 times. 1 bow.
Amitofo.
Amitofo.
Bow. Kneel and offer the robe.
Venerables, please present this robe together with other requisites to the Sangha. Venerables, please accept this robe and other requisites from us for our long-lasting welfare and happiness.
Those who are wise, generous, and free from selfishness give at appropriate times. Thus, what is given to those who are worthy and ethically sound is an offering of great purity and substance. Those who likewise show appreciation or perform acts of service equally make offerings, and they also share in this merit. In giving, the heart is unbounded. What is given bears great results, and those meritorious deeds bring about good fortune in many lives to come.
And return to the bowing cushion. That can stay there. 3 bows to the Buddha. And half bow. The bhikshunis will now stand and proceed in ordination order to the Kuan Yin room, where we'll engage in our ritual.
Everyone can be seated. Hi, I'm Kathy. While the bhikshunis are performing their formal rites, I'm going to lead a motivation. We're going to recite a sutra, the Overflowing Merit Sutra, and we'll reflect on a few points from that, from the day. So today is a day of rejoicing in community and reconnecting with the monastics at the end of their snows retreat. Today is a day where the lay community gathers around the monastics and helps them to replenish their stores. It's a day we are reminded of the generosity the lay community offers to the monastics and the generosity the monastics offer to the lay community. Monastics serve as our role models for lay practitioners. Sravasti Abbey is a community intent on living ethically, simply, and taking care of the earth. Lay practitioners appreciate and support the monastics so they can preserve the Buddha's teachings. Lay practitioners have the opportunity to learn the Dharma from qualified teachers, and they may take the 5 precepts so we can live an ethical life as well. The synergy between the lay community and the monastic community increases ethical conduct in the world. We rejoice in our own and others' ethical conduct and praise those who live in ethical conduct. By doing this, we actively contribute to peace in this world and create the causes for full awakening. In the sutra called Overflowing Merit, the Buddha spoke about the advantages, the 5 lay precepts, as well as taking refuge. We will now recite the sutra, and then we'll meditate on a few points. So I believe the sutra is going to be up there for all of you to join. Mendicants, there are these 8 kinds of overflowing merit, overflowing goodness. They nurture happiness and are conducive to good rebirths, ripening in happiness and leading to good rebirths. They lead what is likable, desirable, agreeable, to welfare and happiness. What 8? Firstly, a noble disciple has gone for refuge to the Buddha. This is the first kind of overflowing merit, overflowing goodness. This nurtures happiness and is conducive to good rebirths, ripening in happiness and leading to good rebirths. This leads to what is likable, desirable, agreeable, to welfare and happiness. Furthermore, a noble disciple has gone for refuge to the teachings. This is the second kind of overflowing merit, overflowing goodness. This nurtures happiness and is conducive to good rebirths, ripening in happiness and leading to good rebirths. This leads to what is likable, desirable, agreeable, to welfare and happiness. Furthermore, a noble disciple has gone for refuge to the Sangha. This is the third kind of overflowing merit, overflowing goodness. This nurtures happiness and is conducive to good rebirths, ripening in happiness and leading to good rebirths. This leads to what is likable, desirable, agreeable, to welfare and happiness. Mendicants, these 5 gifts are great, primordial, long-standing, traditional, and ancient. They are uncorrupted as they have been since the beginning. They're not being corrupted now, nor will they be. Sensible aesthetics and brahmas do look down on them. What 5? Firstly, a noble disciple gives up killing living creatures. By doing so, they give to countless sentient beings the gift of freedom from fear, enmity, and ill will. And they themselves also enjoy unlimited freedom from fear, enmity, and ill will. This is the first gift that is a great offering, primordial, long-standing, traditional, and ancient. It is uncorrupted, as it has been since the beginning. It is not being corrupted now, nor will it be. Sensible aesthetics and brahmas don't look down on it. This is the 4th kind of overflowing merit, overflowing goodness. This nurtures happiness and is conducive to good rebirths, ripening in happiness and leading to good rebirths. This leads to what is likable, desirable, agreeable, to welfare and happiness. Furthermore, a noble disciple gives up stealing. By doing so, they give to countless sentient beings the gift of freedom from fear, enmity, and ill will, and they themselves also enjoy unlimited freedom from fear, enmity, and ill will. This is the second gift that is a great offering, primordial, long-standing, traditional, and ancient. It is uncorrupted, as it has been since the beginning. It is not being corrupted now, nor will it be. Sensible ascetics and brahmas don't look down on it. This is the fifth kind of overflowing merit, overflowing goodness. This nurtures happiness and is conducive to good rebirths, ripening in happiness and leading to good rebirths. This leads to what is likable, desirable, agreeable, to welfare and happiness. Furthermore, a noble disciple gives up sexual misconduct. By so doing, they give to countless sentient beings the gift of freedom from fear, enmity, and ill will, and they themselves also enjoy freedom from fear, enmity, and ill will. This is the third gift that is a great offering, primordial, long-standing, traditional, and ancient. It is uncorrupted, as it has been since the beginning. It is not corrupted now, nor will it be. Sensible ascetics and brahmas don't look down on it. This is the sixth kind of overflowing merit, overflowing goodness. This nurtures happiness and is conducive to good rebirths, ripening in happiness and leading to good rebirths. This leads to what is likable, desirable, agreeable, to welfare and happiness. Furthermore, a noble disciple gives up lying. By doing so, they give to countless sentient beings the gift of freedom from fear, enmity, and ill will, and they themselves also enjoy freedom from fear, enmity, and ill will. This is the fourth gift that is a great offering, primordial, long-standing, traditional, and ancient. It is uncorrupted, as it has been since the beginning. It is not being corrupted now, nor will it be. Sensible ascetics and brahmins don't look down on it. This is the seventh kind of overflowing merit, overflowing goodness. This nurtures happiness and is conducive to good rebirths, ripening in happiness and leading to good rebirths. This leads to what is likable, desirable, agreeable, to welfare and happiness. Furthermore, a disciple gives up alcoholic drinks that cause negligence. By doing so, they give to the countless sentient beings the gift of freedom from fear, enmity, and ill will, and they themselves enjoy unlimited freedom from fear, enmity, and ill will. This is the fifth gift that is a great offering, primordial, long-standing, traditional, and ancient. It is uncorrupted, as it has been since the beginning. It is not corrupted now, nor will it be. Sensible ascetics and brahmanas do not look down on it. This is the eighth kind of overflowing merit, overflowing goodness. This nurtures happiness and is conducive to good rebirths, ripening in happiness and leading to good rebirths. This leads to what is likable, desirable, agreeable, to welfare and happiness. These are the 8 kinds of overflowing merit, overflowing goodness. They nurture happiness and are conducive to good rebirths, ripening in happiness and leading to good rebirths. They leave what is likable, desirable, agreeable to welfare and happiness. Thank you. And now we're going to meditate on a few points. So our first point to reflect on is reflect on how your study of the Dharma is enhanced by learning in a community that strives to live ethically. Reflect on how your study of the Dharma is enhanced by learning in a community that strives to live ethically. The second point, consider how taking the 5 precepts, not killing, stealing, engaging in sexual misconduct, not lying, and not taking intoxicants, enhances your life and the lives of countless sentient beings. Consider how taking the 5 precepts enhances your life and the lives of countless sentient beings. third point. Imagine a world where all communities lived with a focus on ethical conduct. Imagine a world where all communities lived with a focus on ethical conduct. Rejoice that you can increase your ability to live in ethical conduct and contribute to peace in the world. We will rise to wait for the Bhikshunis to return. Thank you.
Face the central aisle and with palms joined, dedicate the merit. Face the central aisle.
Receiving the robe is a virtuous, wonderful deed. We dedicate sons and three times to all Bodhi Sattvas and to the great Prajnaparamita.
Face the Buddha. Bow to the Buddha 3 times. Half bow. In gratitude, bow to the abbess 3 times. Amitofo. Half bow. Face the central aisle.
So this marks the end of the formal ceremonial aspect. Everyone can please be seated comfortably. So we've taken a tour of Buddhist countries and traditions, starting with a procession that's often done in Southeast Asia on the Katina. And then this ceremony is from the Chinese tradition dating back to the 17th century. So now we come back to modern day America, where we would now like to take this opportunity to thank all our friends and donors and volunteers who make the Abbey possible. So Venerable Semke will now take over this section.
Thanks for coming, everybody. This is a lovely, joyous day for us. This is one of my favorite things to do here as part of the member of the community, being the offering service kind of big person. I get to see all of you probably more than anybody with my offering service team. So today we want to personally thank those. We have so many volunteers, and one of the things we have to understand that you folks, for the most part, are the ones with the boots on the ground. You have the most personal relationship to the Abbey. You see us more than anybody. And your service to the 3 jewels is really remarkably consistent and really helps us to sustain our lives here. I'll talk a lot more about the bigger circle that helps us to sustain our lives and the Buddha Dharma in the world. But we do want to make special acknowledgement for certain people. So we usually do this person the last, but we're going to do her first with her new cohort. Tracy Morgan has been our food offering facilitator for 22 years. She has been able to do this. You just Trace, we're gonna hand them to you. You don't have to go anywhere. Here, Trace. And not only does she do that, but she offers service in so many ways. She's got expertise in geography, mapping, interfaith, social activism. And her joy has been absolutely consistent beyond anything that we've ever seen. So we just love Tracy Morgan to death. And her new cohort is one of the newest volunteers that we have, Kelly Green, who is her buddy. So Tracy's giving this transmission of expertise and joy, and Kelly is taking it up and running with it in a really, really big way. Let's see. Now where did he go? John, is John here? There's John. Okay. So John, when we first started our online education course, SAFE, Sravasti Abbey Friends Education, we were kind of working with platforms we were kind of unfamiliar with and stuff. And John was the behind the scene person who made sure that we know what we were doing, our facilitators knew what they were doing, and that our participants were not getting lost in the morass of technology. So John has been a constant force for us and a support for us in that particular form. And he comes up to roll mantra, and we'd love to see him as much as we can. Gosh, I don't know how long John and Janet, how long have you been coming here, John? Since before COVID. And John has a remarkable capacity. He is probably one of the best, knowing that all of us have been in the forest for 21 years here at the Abbey, is one of the best sawyers that could ever grace this place. Sometimes he has to take down a 60-foot dead tree, and he says, I'm going to put it right there. And that's exactly what he does. And now that he makes some mantras as he does it. But what's happening now, and we're finding this in the community too, is that John, he's also a history teacher, which I think is one of the most courageous things to have as a livelihood right now, is that he's starting to mentor some of our monastics to learn how to fell trees as well. So his teaching skills, his safety skills, this man is very, very clear about this is a dangerous thing that he does, and he always makes sure that we are free and clear. And he comes to offering service Saturday consistently with his, like Janet, he brings Hank along if he's in town, his whole family has participated. But it's his skill and his kindness, and he's really integrating that into his high school classroom. He's really a wonderful teacher. We would love having you on board, John. Dan and Julie. Let's see. We have this phenomenon that's happening that people decide to move from across the country to be near us. And one of the first folks who did that was Dan Dimitrov. Dan, I know, 2007, 2008, I don't know, but he showed up here. And then he met this beautiful Russian woman named Julia, and they've been married for now, gosh, 10 years? And so the both of them are this dynamic duo where Dan has done offering service in the forest. Julia has helped with our incarcerated database. Dan is also a painter, so he's done some house painting for us. And they show up whenever they can. They have very busy lives, but they're one of the sustaining volunteers of our community. Dan and Julia Dimitrov. Okay. This is Nicole. Nicole, there's Nicole. Nicole has this profound aspiration to become a monastic, and she has to go through a few little worldly hoops to be able to see if that works or not. So she's taking this incredible deep intention and time to really take care of worldly things, and she comes up when she can. She lives down at the bottom of the hill. She offers service. Her practice is just deepened, and she's getting clear about that, but she's here all the time. We just love having her on board. So Nicole Mitchell, one of our lay volunteers, who's kind of right in that space between, she's down the hill and she's thinking about it, so we're making prayers. Let's see. Kurt Keith. Now, Kurt and Keith, we know them through some mutual friends. Venerable Children knows John Bruna way back when, and a few years ago I went and did some sharing of the Dharma in Carbondale, Colorado with John and Laura. And then Kurt and Keith showed up a few years ago and said, we know those guys, and they said to head up there and start doing something with those people up there. So Kurt and Keith have done offering service. They live quite a ways away, and they're really busy, but they come up and work in the forest. They come to the retreats. They offer this incredible joy of the Dharma, which we actually do appreciate. We need to get fed and nourished from your side as well. So for Kurt and Keith, love to have you. I'm not sure how Chris and Connie found us, but one day Chris showed up on one of our offering service Saturdays with his chainsaw, his chaps, and his helmet. And they've been with us ever since. They are now part of our phenomenal food offering shopping crew. I mean, to feed 22 people is not a small task. And so Chris and Connie are one of our groups that Tracy facilitates and takes care of and nourishes. And they bring with us just a beautiful joy and also a sense of community, and their energy is just remarkable. We love having them here. Let's see. Kathy Elton. Kathy comes up here from, she was coming up here from Utah. She found us somehow, I'm not sure how you found it, online. 10 years ago, she showed up in Carbondale one day when I was sharing down in Carbondale, Colorado. She drove down. She, besides offering service, Kathy has extraordinary skills on conflict mediation. And a few years ago, she came and spent the weekend with us and helped us to learn how to speak to each other, how to speak in difficult situations, and how to support all of our Dharma friends. And she just loves us so much that she built a house about a mile down the road, and she is slowly making that transition from Utah to in the neighborhood. But Kat's here, we love her when she comes and brings a lot of great energy. Oh, Clyde, yeah. Hey, Clyde, okay. Clyde, I'm not, did you show up at UU first? No. Came here first? Yep. And you moved here from? Virginia. Okay, here's another long-term person who decided that they wanted to be a little bit closer to us. So Clyde was involved in the Unitarian class that we had, the meditation groups there, started coming here for retreats, offering services. This is one of our boots on the ground, offering service Saturday Forest team. He's kind of one of the hot shots that we have around here. And also too, Clyde is part of the larger lay community that we have that is now starting to take energy to get the Dharma more locally in Spokane. So he's part of this great group of 4 people who found a space this year, who put out the word, that have led meditations while we're in retreat. So Clyde has really become part of more of our Dharma outreach besides just offering service here in the forest. And he's been coming here for teachings and retreats and really deepening in the Dharma. It's been lovely to see him grow. Heidi, okay. Heidi has been around too. We never know when she's going to show up because she's got these crazy schedules. But what she did recently, what I want to tell you, is that we never got to see her because she takes care of elders. First she took care of the homeless, and now she takes care of elders. And that's a really wild schedule. You work 24, you have a long schedule life. But she was missing us because she couldn't come up on the weekends. So she changed her job so she could come and be with us on Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. And also the other thing that Heidi does besides coming up and offering service here, we had one of the Tibetan nuns, one of the Geshe-las, who went through the whole program of philosophy. Geshe Gelik came here for 3 weeks, and she wanted to know about America's culture. So Heidi talked to the place that she worked, an elder facility, and we took Geshe-la down there. And Heidi got to show her the place and to see how we care for our elders in America, and she was working with a wonderful facility. So that Geshe-la was very inspired by Heidi's care and concern for the elders and that whole community there. Who? Oh, Catherine. Yeah. Okay. Catherine, we used to see a lot. And then she went over and moved to the west side. And she still comes over. And so she takes care of us as far as our personal needs and our toiletries. And she's got one of the most beautiful singing voices and a playfulness and a sense of humor that just brightens the day. And corgis that we're going to process today, but they're in the car, I think. So anyway, for Catherine, for her great care of us. Okay, let's see. And then we've got Lauren. Okay. All right. And who's it? Who? Oh, God, I'm sorry. All right, let's see. Who else do we have here? Lauren. Where's Lauren? Lauren. I think you just kind of showed up too one day on offering service Saturday. Lauren has great insights about his own mind and about the Dharma. And every once in a while, he shows up with this carload of fresh produce, tons and tons of fresh vegetables. And he comes when he needs counsel, and he comes when he has joy. And we wish we could see him more, but we don't. But we're going to take him whenever we get him. So anyway, for Lauren. And this is probably the newest courageous people who decided to move across the country to be with us. They came from Maryland. They were here last year, and they just bought a house about 7 miles from us. Dan and Megan. And so we have a little housewarming gift for your home. They were here last week for offering service Saturday, and hopefully we will see you a whole lot. Okay, and then after Colette, we'll just give these out. Are you Jessica? What's your name? Right there behind the guys. You're Jessica. Okay, this will be for Jessica and Dan and Jessica. Okay, Colette. We've known Colette longer than anybody, almost longer than Tracy. Dharma Friendship Foundation, when Venerable was teacher there, she's one of Venerable's students from way back when, 2003, 2004. She came across the mountains today. There's another thing she's doing, but she wanted to come and see us for her practice. She's also a teacher, which I find to be one of the most courageous livelihoods right now. So she came to show us her love and support, and we are just so happy that you came. Okay. And then we got folks, let's see. Greg, where's Greg? Greg, he's one of those faces that comes and goes. Man, if we get him once a year, we're lucky. But when he comes, he's got a lot of joy. Venerable Kunga, can we start with Greg? And I'll just name who they are. Would love having Greg here. He's from Coeur d'Alene, right? Coeur d'Alene. Okay, then we're going to give to Selden. Selden is now one of our lay residents who is just absolutely indispensable with carpentry, his joy, and his motivations. Let's see, Rashika in the back is one of our long-term practitioners. She comes from Seattle. She's here. Let's see. Daniel, this is his first visit here. Connie and Chris met him in California at the college, and now he's here, and he has aspirations, and we're just excited to see him. And then Jen used to be our Spokane resident. She moved, shucky darn, to North Carolina, but she came to visit us long term. And then Jessica, how did you find us? How did you come here? Online, okay. Bless that, online. So did everybody get a little treasure today? Nobody going to home empty-handed? Okay. And then last but not least, this is just the boots on the ground folks here, okay? Then we've got, so Tracy, there's more people on the food list. There's more people on the forest team. Who come here, you folks come, kitchen team, moving statues, moving furniture, mantra rolling, wildfire mitigation. We have some foresters in our state, even though they get paid, they have been mentoring us through this whole wildfire mitigation. They've helped us have access to grants. We've got a big, huge one out there right now in cyberspace that hopefully will happen. The Dharma sharing. We have Venerable Damcho, Venerable Lamso, a number of people. We've got Venerable Children's website, tc.org. We have Sravasti Retreat from Afar. There are all these people out there that many of us have never met that they're the content creators, they transcribe, they audio edit, they video post, technology queens and kings like you would not believe, that back up all the things that we can't possibly do in the course of a 24-hour day. There's dozens of them. And that includes both of those and design support as well. We've got volunteers for the Monday night meditation group, the Spokane group, the people who get the word out that we're here and that the Dharma is ready to be spread like a beautiful beacon of light in the world. We have consultants for legal advice. Anytime you're running with contractors and things like that, you need somebody who knows what they're doing to make sure that when you're signing that dotted line that you know exactly what you're signing. We have some lawyers that are helping us we have a number of people that are right now on R1s, green cards, that help us with the whole immigration navigation, which is going to be real fun. And she's fabulous. She's fabulous, and so she's been a great help. Communications advice, landscaping advice, and then overseas support. We have another whole support out there in Malaysia, India, Singapore, Indonesia, Europe, Australia, India, that when Venerable goes to teach, the word gets out, they set up the tables, they do the info tables, they invite generosity, they spread the word. There's hundreds of people around the world. And all of that to spread the Buddha Dharma in the world so that Sravasti, Abbey, and the Dharma can flourish and to be able to create peace in this increasingly chaotic world. So for all of you, with deep, deep bows for all of your support and love.
And so with that, we thank you all so much for coming up to be with us, and also all our friends who've joined us online. If you're maybe a little bit jealous that you didn't get some kind of gift in person, just move here. It's not so hard. So many people have. There's property around. Yeah, it's not so hard. Talk to Kathy about this. And if not, work with your mind. And so please check up our calendar online. There's so many events happening the rest of this year. Please come and be with us in person and continue to tune in for all the events that we're broadcasting. Thank you. Okay, have we gone off?